Is there a startup visa in America for entrepreneurs who are foreigners?
No, there is no startup visa that is currently implemented in the US, at least in the form of a startup visa. This was sometime back in 2012, I believe, when Paul Graham, who is the co-founder of Y Combinator, which is one of the biggest startup accelerators in Silicon Valley, he published an article called The Startup Visa, I think. And I think that was the inception of this idea of a startup visa, that he said the easiest way we can improve the economy, create more jobs, is to have a startup visa that lets immigrants in this country start a company without much hassle, that gives them a red carpet pathway through which they can achieve their dreams and build a company and create more jobs and fuel the economy. I'm not sure if it's 2012 or 2010, actually. We should check that. But that started the movement that we should have a startup visa. And in fact, I think there were about 3 or 4 years when this was intensely debated, and there were many proposals drafted for what a startup visa would look like. And as I understand, it even passed the lower floor, the Senate of the Congress. But when this went to the House, it did not pass the House for various political reasons that, honestly, I don't think I'm equipped to talk about that. But in the end, it never passed. And it just lost momentum. Like many things in life that we work on, after a while, for whatever reason, we lose momentum and just gives up. It's not because we don't want that. So it's kind of sad that we started with trying to create a startup visa, and watching us, so many other countries across the world has implemented a startup visa right now. Canada is a great example of somebody who took inspiration from the US, and then they have a startup visa now.
All right, so it's definitely bad news that America does not have a startup visa, even though they explored it. So what does America currently offer in terms of that?
The closest alternative, I would say, is something called the International Entrepreneur Parole, IEP. The IEP was implemented only in 2021, although it was included in the Obama administration's last few months. They wanted to implement, but then presidents changed and Trump was not okay with implementing that. So eventually it was implemented in 2021 when Joe Biden became president. And there you have to have an investment of $250,000. It's not clear the list of which organizations, they have strict requirements as to who you can get that money from. And you only get a temporary parole for 30 months. So it's not even a visa. It's more of a parole. It's an experiment that they're trying, where you get to stay here for about 2.5 years with the option to extend for 5 years if you keep growing your company and have 10% equity in the company and so on. So it's certainly not ideal for someone who does not have funding or someone who wants to come here fast, because the IEP has no premium processing. And for people who don't know what that means, it just means you pay extra money for the government to process your case within a few weeks instead of several months. So the IEP has no premium processing, which means you have no idea when you'll get the result. And it could be 6 months, it could be 9 months, or even more.
Man, that's discouraging.